Thanks to The Mandalorian reigniting everyone's passion for the extended Star Wars universe, fans all over the world are super hyped for the release of the Book of Boba Fett. Despite the fact that Boba Fett as a character did not have as much screen time as other characters in the movies, he is beloved by the most die-hard of Star Wars fans, and the trailer that dropped this fall is sending people over the edge. But what did fans miss in their excitement? Today we're going to go over the detail exactly what got revealed in the new trailer and all the Easter eggs you might have missed. First of all, when did the new trailer drop? The trailer for The Book of Boba Fett came out right at the start of November, so by now we have had enough time to calm down, rewatch it, and make notes of all the tiny details. Fans have been desperate to watch a full-length trailer, and after little snippets and teaser pics, it is finally time for us to sit back and soak in all the Star Wars goodness. When is The Book of Boba Fett coming out? Luckily, fans of Star Wars universe don't have to wait long. The new show is coming out on Disney Plus at the end of December of this year, so the countdown is well and truly underway. So, what exactly did the trailer reveal? We have got to find out all of the juiciest new details. Firstly, let's talk about Boba Fett's face. Last time we saw the famous bounty hunter, he removed his helmet and audiences were shocked to see how scarred and damaged his face was. After the initial shock of seeing the scarring, however, people realized that it made a lot of sense for him to have suffered so many injuries. We have no idea where the bounty hunting legend has been since we last saw him in The Return of the Jedi, when he gets devoured by the SARLACC. However, he got out of there, he clearly sustained some significant injuries, and in the years that followed, there have been plenty of opportunities for him to fight for his life. We have no idea what difficulties he has faced since we last saw him, but by the end of The Mandalorian, he is definitely looking very battle-worn. However, in the trailer, we see his face looking much more whole and back to its usual health. Does he get a chance to rest between the end of The Mandalorian and the start of the new season? Or is the healthier-looking Boba Fett part of a flashback from before he sustained injuries? Speaking of injuries, let's discuss the BACTA tank. Okay, we have to mention this. The BACTA tank is like a rejuvenation pod in the Star Wars universe. A person submerges themselves in it for a period of time, and they heal themselves of any injuries or ailments. We've been able to see more than one BACTA tank in action and a few times over the course of the movies, TV shows, and comics, so it is no surprise that we might be seeing one again. In fact, when Boba Fett does his voiceover line of, "I am Boba Fett, left for dead on the sands of Tatooine," we see him for a moment submerged in liquid, breathing through a tube. It is our best guess that this is in fact a BACTA tank. It is certainly very dramatic, and it also gives us some food for thought. When does this moment take place? The accompanying words would suggest that he uses the BACTA tank to recover from the physical trauma of being eaten by a SARLACC and escaping from the pit. Or it could be how he restored the scarred skin on his face. We are going to have to watch the new episodes to figure out how this plays into things. Jabba the Hutt's enormous palace. So Jabba the Hutt famously lorded over the criminal world on Tatooine. His devious reach extended far into the galaxy as a whole. In order to rule with such ferocity, Jabba would require a pretty decent base of operations, right? And this is exactly true. Jabba the Hutt has an enormous palace on the desert planet, towering high into the sky between the massive sand dunes. This is a stark contrast to the small huts and poverty around him, and it cuts an impressive silhouette on the horizon. Now that Jabba the Hutt and his successor, Bib Fortuna, have been bumped off, the palace is up for grabs. And as we saw in the final shots of The Mandalorian, the famous bounty hunter has moved in to claim the palace as his own. The palace itself is what some fans think is going to contain a lot of hidden things. We've seen the interior in multiple installments of the franchise. The throne room, where Jabba famously kept Princess Leia as his prisoner in chains, and the dungeon underneath the palace where Luke battled the Rancor. In the trailer, we also see an enormous balcony with incredible views over Tatooine, and a separate room where Boba Fett introduces himself to Jabba the Hutt's mercenaries. This is what we know for sure about the iconic palace so far, but if you look at the sheer size size of it, there is no way that this is all the palace has to show us. Jabba has had a place of influence over the criminal world for so long, he has bound to come across lots of hidden or illegal things, and the huge palace is the perfect place to hide such treasures. Fans think that there are a lot more rooms and a lot of artifacts that could be revealed here. Boba Fett putting on his famous helmet. Okay, so there is a scene in the new trailer where Boba Fett puts on his helmet, and there are two interesting things of note here. First off, there is a tiny Easter egg that you might not have noticed. The bounty hunter is handed his helmet by a spindly, spider-legged droid. This might seem innocuous enough, but this is a droid that hardcore fans have seen before. Way back when The Phantom Menace came out in 1999, a whole bunch of concept art was released that went deep into detailing the rich, intricate universe. However, not all of this concept art got used in the movie, and many of these ideas just ended up going on the back burner. The piece of art that has got fans interested is one drawing of a small, spindly-legged droid with a flat, round head. It is pretty much identical to the one in the trailer that hands Boba Fett his signature helmet. Fans are wondering, is this just a case of the Star Wars creative team using an old idea that never saw the light of day? Or could there be another way this ties in to the Phantom Menace storyline? Even if it is just a recycled idea, it is still an exciting nod for the fans who are keen enough to spot it. Secondly, Boba Fett's helmet appears to be much more damaged than the last time we saw it. In the now famous last seconds of The Mandalorian Season 2, we saw Boba Fett taking a seat in Jabba the Hutt's old throne. He had been a little roughed up from battle, but had given his armor a bit of TLC, and it was looking much more like we are used to. However, when the little spider droid hands Boba Fett his helmet, we can see that it is covered in fresh scratches and what looks like a big, noticeable, brand new dent on the top of it. This definitely was not here earlier, so what has happened in between Boba Fett taking his seat on the throne and this moment? There's clearly some kind of time jump in between the scenes from The Mandalorian and this scene in the trailer. The only question is it a jump forwards or backwards? We know that the mercenary was injured after the fall of the SARLACC pit, so this scene could be a flashback to after he had escaped the pit but before he had repaired his armor, or it takes place a little while after the scene in The Mandalorian and he has got into a pretty significant fight in between. It definitely gives us something to think about. Lastly, we have got to talk about the SARLACC pit. Okay, so before Boba Fett was revealed to still be alive in The Mandalorian, everyone thought he died in the SARLACC pit. Star Wars has yet to explain how on Earth, or how on Tatooine, he got out of it in one piece. But we can bet that the answer to this is coming soon. Boba mentions that he was left for dead in the sands of Tatooine, and then the camera cuts to a shot of a Tusken Raider on the horizon. This is implying that perhaps the Raiders are the ones that found his injured body and brought him to safety so he could recover. But how did he even get out of the pit in order to be rescued? As far as we all know, the legendary bounty hunter got completely eaten by the SARLACC, its whirling jaws grinding him into dust. It is not possible that he missed the pit and landed unconscious on the sand, as we and the other characters would have seen him. It might be that he got swallowed into the sand and was able to crawl out far enough for the Raiders to eventually find him. For sure, it is one of the biggest and most discussed mysteries of the Star Wars franchise. So it is pretty incredible that after decades of wondering, we will finally get an answer. What do you think about the new Book of Boba Fett trailer? Did you rewatch it to spot these details? Thanks for watching, and see you next time.